Hello everyone, I'm H2Acon from Online Notes, and this is Mass Effect Factions, the series where we break down the races and factions of the Mass Effect trilogy, obviously with some spoilers. We split each summary into 4 sections: history, anatomy, military, and culture. Today we'll be covering the Quarian Flotilla. To start with, history, the backstory of the Quarians. The Quarians hail from Rannoch, a planet at the far edge of the Milky Way. They were among the first in our cycle to develop spaceflight, but due to Rannoch's distance from the Citadel, it took several centuries before they came into contact with the Council. When they did though, the Quarians were warmly welcomed into the growing galactic community, and allowed to set up an embassy on the Citadel. During the next 2,000 years, the Quarians kept relatively quiet, playing a minor role in galactic conflicts. The Quarians also didn't expand their territory as extensively as other races, and so despite founding a handful of colonies, the majority of Quarians remained on their homeworld of Rannoch. Around 1850 CE, the Quarians created the Geth, a race of machines with virtual intelligence. The Geth were developed as a labor force, and their programming was kept deliberately simple. However, over time, the Geth programs evolved, eventually developing sentience. The Quarians panicked, and in an attempt to prevent a revolution by the now self-aware Geth, the government ordered their immediate termination in 1895 CE. Many Quarians refused to give up their Geth servants, who then had to be forcibly taken from them. Before long, the government declared martial law in an effort to stamp out the growing groups of Quarian sympathizers, arresting and even killing them in order to get at the Geth that they protected. But then the Geth started to fight back, and within a year the Quarians were forced to flee Rannoch and the colonies as the Geth simply overwhelmed them. Billions of Quarians died in the Geth War, less than 1% of their population managing to escape. The Quarians limped away from Rannoch in a flotilla of spaceships, and begged the Citadel Council for help against the Geth. The Council refused, furious with the Quarians for unleashing the Geth on the galaxy, and forbidding them from attempting to retake any of their worlds, so as not to provoke the Geth. The Quarians then attempted to colonize the planet Akuna. However, the Council ordered the Quarians to leave, giving Akuna to the Elcor instead. As a final punishment, the Quarians were stripped of their Citadel embassy, making it clear that the Quarians were to leave Citadel space. The Quarians never set up another permanent home, and instead they continued to live on board their flotilla, a nomadic race which lives outside of Council space, and so plays a very small role in galactic politics. A shadow of their former glory, the Quarians dream of nothing more than one day reclaiming Rannoch. Secondly, anatomy, a description of Quarian physiology. They closely resemble humans, but tend to be slightly smaller. Quarians also only have 3 fingers to a hand and 3 toes on each foot, as well as having bowed legs. Quarians are, like Turians, a dextroprotein species, made up of structurally different amino acids, which make them unable to eat the foods of humans and most other races. Quarians are made distinctive by their Enviro-suits. Pathogens were rare on Rannoch, and so the Quarians evolved to have naturally weak resistances, which have been made worse by generations of living on board sterile spaceships. Quarians therefore rarely remove their suits, as contact between 2 unprotected Quarians can easily make them both ill, and a suit puncture on a foreign planet can be fatal. But despite their susceptibility to disease, the Quarians are surprisingly physically robust, and their suits act as light armor, making them tougher still. Quarians typically have extensive cybernetic enhancements throughout their bodies, which have helped to extend Quarian lifespans to being almost equal to that of a human. Thirdly, military, an assessment of the Quarian armed forces. The Quarian nation is essentially one enormous fleet, the largest in the galaxy, with tens of thousands of ships and crewed by a population of 17 million. That said, although most Quarian ships have some sort of weaponry, only a few hundred are dedicated warships. The ultimate goal of the Quarians is to one day reclaim Rannoch, and so their military is geared towards fighting the Geth, equipped with electrical weapons specifically designed to combat synthetics. The Quarians also have a large research division dedicated to studying Geth technologies and creating countermeasures. The Quarians are generally peaceful, having no ill intentions towards other races. However, the nomadic Quarians have somewhat of an extortion racket going, since they mine asteroids for fuel as they pass through systems. The local residents are then forced to pay the Quarians to leave before all their system's resources are stripped, this payment of ships, food and other supplies helping to sustain the flotilla on its wanderings. Finally, culture, a look at Quarian society. Quarian behaviour is centred on ensuring the survival of the flotilla. With so many squeezed onto so few ships, efficiency is everything. For example, Quarians are typically vegan, since there is just no space for animals on board. Quarians are famously gifted as mechanics, being able to salvage and repair technology better than any other race. They use no form of currency within the flotilla, as all food and supplies are shared. Couples are not allowed to have more than one child, and medicines are stockpiled and distributed carefully by the captains of each ship. Captains are in charge of their ships, however each vessel has an elected civilian council, which makes most day-to-day decisions. Another council, known as the Conclave, rules as the parliament for the entire flotilla, and is overseen by a board of 5 admirals. The admirals can overrule the Conclave, however doing so requires the entire board to resign from their posts, so as to prevent abuse of the system. The ship captains usually preside over criminal courts, the most common punishment being exile, since imprisonment is not viable with so little space to spare. Quarians have a coming-of-age ritual called a pilgrimage, where an adolescent leaves their birth ship in search of something valuable. This is then offered as a gift to the captain of another ship, in exchange for allowing them to join the crew. This practice not only provides young Quarians with important experience, it also ensures genetic diversity within the population. This pilgrimage is typically the only contact most Quarians have with the rest of the galaxy, spending most of their time shunned for their unleashing of the Geth, and dreaming hopelessly of one day retaking their homeworld. So that's the Quarian Flotilla. There's a lot more that I wasn't able to fit into this video, but we hope that you've learned something nonetheless. Please like, comment any suggestions, and subscribe for more. I've been H2Acon, and I'll see you next time.